it seems like if you consume a lot of material, a lot of the world is saying, I'm terrified to go to XYZ business. I'm terrified about the future. We've had 3-ish months of negative, 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 negative. And it's going to be very interesting to see if we see as things start to open, will you start to see 3 months of positive, positive, positive being pounded? I think we know that answer. I think you won't. You'll continue to see more negative side of that. But from your world and from your perspective, what are you doing to persuade, convince your tenants, the businesses in our area? Like, what can they do to start marketing positivity that people will be safe from something that we've been told? And by the way, like, I'm not saying that this isn't a very terrible thing. I'm just saying the world is going to open, and now all these businesses want people to come back in. So what can a business do to start capitalizing and pull those businesses or those customers back in so that they can start bringing in some dollars?
Well, so it's a matter of, it's an individual thing for each business and how they handle things day to day. But I think, first of all, their employees have to feel safe. And so putting in measures in their offices or in their locations where their employees feel like that they are not going to be around or have any issues. So little things like having hand sanitizer everywhere, knowing that people are wiping down countertops behind themselves or whatever that they touch. There you go. You got to have it. And just people maintaining their space and not getting like all up on each other when you're even standing in line, and just making sure first that your employees feel good about that. And then letting the public know what exactly you're doing and be very clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I think, Zach, you had an email that went out a while ago that talked about, don't put this big, huge, long thing about all this stuff that you're doing. Just give us the overview, right? So be super clear and concise about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and make people feel like that you have put measures in place that are actually going to work, that it's not going to be I don't even know an example of what it would be that.
Well, so the example was, a lot of people will start copycatting other emails because they feel like they have to do it. And somewhere in there's a message that actually they want the world to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a client was telling me that they were trying to do something at another business, and they didn't know. They didn't even know if the business was open, which is ultimately what they were trying to do. And that was hidden in this like 27,000 word email.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just email people what you want them to know. Hey, we're open. Hey, we're closed. Hey, we're open at this time. This is what you have to do. Don't make it so difficult for people to do the one thing that you want them to do in these situations. And I think people often forget that, like, oh, well, so-and-so competitor that I happen to get their email, they did this, so therefore I need to do that. At the very beginning of this, every single message looked the same.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you look online, about a month and a half ago, everyone started getting on Zoom. So what did people do? They started doing what I call the camouflage marketing, where they started copying what everyone else is doing, and they started Brady bunching all the pictures. So it was just like oh, look, I just had this call with all my people. Why do I need to like engage in that post? It's not engageable, right? It's irrelevant. And so now you're not seeing it because people, I guess, realize that, hey, I didn't want to, this wasn't going to work anymore. So, but tell people what they need to hear and get in front of it. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, if you guys are interested in information just like that, go to ZachMillerSays.com/newsletter. And every Monday AM at 10:13, you can get my tips and tricks or my one hack of the week. Boom.
Yes, I love it. I love your tips and tricks.
Whew.
Amazing.
Love it.